I've had the SaunaBox for 500 days now, and I still love it. So yeah, guys, you could say that I have owned the SaunaBox for quite some time now, and I wanted to do just a quick video and let you guys know, what it is that I actually like about the SaunaBox, because there are quite a few things, but that's not to say there aren't a few drawbacks, and I want to also, kind of cover those things. Also, I'd like to address a few of the common questions and complaints that I see online quite often, and just to maybe offer some of my own insights on those concerns. In my opinion, there are a lot of things to love about the SaunaBox. I mean, primarily the portability aspect of it. It's something that you can actually, set up or take down very easily within just a few minutes. You can take it with you anywhere you like. If you go on vacation, you could take it with you, which I've actually done. You could set this in a corner. I mean, it's very small, has a very small footprint, so it's not taking up a whole lot of space. So if you have an apartment, something like that, I mean, it's perfect. So the portability is great. The second thing is the overall durability of this thing. Now, you guys have to understand that I've had this SaunaBox right here out on this back patio it's covered under a gazebo. But guys, it has been right here on the corner. I mean, it's exposed to the sun, rain, snow, and sleet this last winter. And if you take a look at it, it has very, very little wear and tear to it. I mean, no signs of fading. All the stitching is great. Nothing is actually like breaking down, if you will, as far as the materials go. And so it's just been really good and reliable for me so far. I've had no issues with the steamer. The zippers are great. The only place where it's shown a little bit of wear and tear is actually on the bottom material. And that's just because I was a little careless and I've kind of dragged it around every once in a while just here on the back deck. That's my fault. But besides that, it looks relatively, if you will, brand new. And that's saying a lot for something that has, by and large, been exposed to the elements almost the entire time. The other thing that I love about the SaunaBox is the fact that they actually deliver on the things that they promise. I've reviewed several saunas, and, they've had spec sheets, and, they claim a lot of things about it. Some companies, they've kind of fudged the numbers a little bit, particularly like Newt Recover. They say a lot of things on their website as far as like the overall size and dimensions of the sauna, and which have been off in the past. I think they've corrected some of that. The other thing is they'll say that it gets to be a certain temperature and it still falls flat. It comes short by like 10 to 15 degrees. The SaunaBox, it comes exactly how they describe it. I mean, as far as the dimensions go, temperature that they say, it says it reaches 130. That's accurate. I've shown that in some previous tests that I've done. Everything that they claim, I mean, it's delivered. I consider that a definite positive pro. Now, I don't want to come across as being like a total fanboy of the SaunaBox and make this seem like I'm biased or anything like that. So let me tell you about a few of the cons of it. Maybe the first one would be the fact that the overall size of it, I mean, it is meant for one person. Some people have asked, can you fit two people in there? And technically you could if you were standing up. However, it's definitely going to be a little crowded. You do have the steamer that sits on the floor. So if you were to kick that, you'd probably burn your feet. So, having two people in there, probably not the best idea. The other thing is the heat distribution. It definitely gets very hot inside. No doubt you'll sweat. If you're sitting down, you won't feel it quite as much simply because the hot air rises. I do recommend standing at least a little bit during your sauna session. Having said that, I've noticed like during the winter months that, my feet, they won't be like cold necessarily, but they don't really warm up either. And I don't really know if you need to have your feet warm and sweating too. I don't think that happens. Yeah, that's just, that's something that I have noticed in the past with it. Another potential con that maybe you should consider is the fact that this is not like a traditional sauna. I mean, this is basically a stripped down version of all that. It is steam driven. You are sitting in this, like, it is a tent. And so the overall experience can be a little bit less than maybe what you would expect if you are like a purist of saunas. Also, because it does use steam, I mean, there is the fact that you do have to fill it up with water. They do recommend they use distilled water. I have always used just I have a very good filtering system here at the house. And so I just use really purified water. Have not had any issues as far as any sort of like buildup, scaling, anything like that inside of the actual steamer itself. Along with that goes with the fact that you have steam that's inside here. And so after you use the sauna, you definitely have to open the door. You have to air it out. You have to make sure that there's no buildup of like bacteria, anything like that, which I've never had an issue with that, frankly. You do have to make sure that it's dry, and there is that water issue. So, you know, if you're going to put this on like laminate flooring, something like that, you want to make sure that, you know, you're placing something underneath it so you don't have any sort of like water damage, anything like that. I don't know, perhaps there are more drawbacks than that, but at the moment, I really can't think of any. Ultimately, as I said, I really do feel like the pros far outweigh any of the cons that there are to the SaunaBox. I mean, it's not a perfect product, and I feel like as long as you know what you're getting and what you're buying, I think that you'd be very happy with it, and that you'd be okay with some of the trade-offs that there might be compared to like a traditional sauna. Because yeah, you get a traditional sauna, you're going to be spending thousands of dollars. This is just like a $300-400 product. Of course, it's not going to offer the same exact experience. However, do you get a lot of the same benefits? And yeah, absolutely, I believe that you do. And so yeah, saying all that, I do think that it's definitely worth it. Now, with the internet being the way that it is, there's certainly a lot of different people that have commented about the SaunaBox, have had their own criticisms, critiques, or just simple questions that they've had. And I want to address a few of those now. The number one critique that I see online is people commenting about it not being a sauna. And not just that, but they say it's not sauna, it's sauna. Let's address that for a second. Now, yes, it's not a traditional sauna. It's not made of wood. It doesn't have the rocks, doesn't have the loilu. It's not a traditional sauna. It's not meant to be. This is meant to be a portable steam tent or steam sauna, because that is a thing that is very easily accessible to most people, because a regular sauna, if you will, is just not accessible to a lot of people. So this is something that almost anybody could afford, and they could actually have in their own house. Sorry, bots in Finland, you're never going to win that war. We're always going to call it sauna. I'm sorry. Now, the second most common critique that I see online is regarding the steamer. I've seen a lot of people that have commented that their steamer has burnt out, if you will, or almost caused a fire. And people have complained that getting a replacement for that, you know, has taken a long time. Now, I can't speak to that. However, I do want to just kind of give you my own opinion on the steamer itself. I have had two versions of the SaunaBox in the last 18 months. The version one I had for about 8 to 9 months. Never had any issues with the steamer. Now I've owned this one ever since. Zero issues with the steamer. And again, I'm using this all the time. There was one thing that might be causing a lot of your issues. And again, this could be related to you, maybe not. You know, they do suggest that you use the steamer and plug it directly into the wall. And if you're not doing that and you're using like an extension cord, that could be one problem that's actually causing your steamer to burn out. I've noticed, because I was using an extension cord, and it was actually a very flimsy one, if you will. It wasn't actually made to carry that kind of current, because it does draw about 1,500 watts. And so I noticed that it actually started to kind of burn out the extension cord, which fortunately the steamer didn't burn out. That could definitely be kind of a fire hazard. If you're going to use an extension cord, make sure that the gauge of it is like 12 or less, where it's very heavy duty. Something that can actually withstand that amount of power that's going to draw through there. So that's just one consideration. The other thing is it is a steamer, so if you're getting it wet, if water got down below and hit the electronics, something like that, definitely could burn out. The other thing would be is if you're kind of handling it a little rough, you know, if you're kind of moving it around quite a bit, I could see that definitely causing some wear and tear on the filaments to heat it up. Those are just a few suggestions, a few things that came to mind that might be leading to your steamer burning out, you know, especially for these people that have complained that they've had multiple steamers and they've all burnt out, because I think that there's something going on there, and it's not necessarily a defect of the steamer itself. Maybe. The third most common concern that I see most people complaining about online, and they'll comment in the comment sections, is they'll say that at 130 degrees, this simply does not get hot enough, because they're comparing it directly to a dry sauna. A dry sauna, if you're not aware, I mean, it could get anywhere from like 160 up to 200 plus degrees Fahrenheit inside. It is dry, so, you know, there's not a whole lot of humidity in there. Certainly can feel very intense, and they argue that the 130 degrees simply is not hot enough. It's not going to, you know, have any benefit for you, and that's simply just not true, guys, because you have to remember, at 130 degrees with 100% humidity, the relative temperature inside can really feel like 160, 170 degrees inside, and it's very intense. And when you add in that humidity as well, I mean, that is very, very taxing to your cardiovascular system, to your lungs, and it is very noticeable. That's something to kind of keep in mind, that humidity is very different. You know, if you've ever lived in, say, like Houston, and you lived in Arizona, you just know those two different heats are very, very different, and your body responds very differently as well, because there's no way that the SaunaBox could be much hotter without inducing some sort of like heat stroke or something like that, and it could be very dangerous. Now, the fourth most common question I see people ask all the time about the SaunaBox is, how do you keep this thing clean? Now, guys, let me tell you, it's actually very, very simple. I have never had an issue with mold or mildew. Never. Not even a slight sign of any of that. Every single time that I use the SaunaBox, I open up the door all the way and I air it out. It's outside. Within like an hour or two, it's always dry inside. Unless it's sitting in some dark, dank area of your house and you're not drying it out, then I don't see any reason why it'll actually build up any kind of mold or mildew. Now, if you do want to clean it, if you use just like a 50-50 mix of like some vinegar and water, spray it in there, wipe it down, that should take care of any problems that you might have. Now, I will be honest, I've never actually done that. The only thing that I've really cleaned is the sweat mat. Whenever I use the SaunaBox, I always take a towel in there, I set it on the seat, I set it on the floor, so that collects most of any of the sweat that drips off. And so I will take out the sweat mat. I'll spray it down with the hose. As far as like the rest of the SaunaBox, guys, I kind of see, in my opinion, I see the steam as being the cleaning agent. I mean, you have hot steam every time that you use it. And so to me, that's actually killing any sort of bacteria or mold that might build up. And again, as long as you're airing it out afterwards and getting rid of the moisture, I don't think that you should have any problems. And I personally have not. And so that's just my opinion on that. But keeping it clean is really kind of a non-issue. Now, one of the last things I see a lot of people ask is they ask whether or not the SaunaBox includes any form of like red light therapy, because you'll see a lot of its competitors offering what they call red light therapy, like these rope lights, and they produce this red light. They do say that it puts off 660 nanometers. To be honest, guys, I think they're garbage. They're battery powered, so they're simply just not going to output the amount of light that you need for it to be effective. So if anything, they're really nice because they create this nice ambiance inside, has that red light to it, and you know, because the SaunaBox can be a little dark inside. That said, if you are interested in actually having a red light therapy that works, I actually purchased the SaunaMax from Platinum LED. There's a link down in the description. I mean, this thing is phenomenal. It'll basically burn out your retinas. I'm kidding, but it's very bright and very, very effective. It's waterproof, or water resistant, I should say, and it can resist temperatures up to 150 degrees. So it is meant to be used inside of a sauna, particularly. It works really well inside of the SaunaBox. So check it out if you're looking for red light. Those other red lights that are out there, yeah, they're not doing much. Okay, guys, so there you have it. That is my 500-day long-term review of the SaunaBox. If you have any questions or comments about anything I talked about in this video, go ahead and leave those in the comment section down below. Also, if you'd like to get 10% off anything at SaunaBox, I do have a promo code. It's in the description. Go ahead and click on that and save yourself a little bit of money. But otherwise, I will see you in the next video.